Looks like you're undercover, man.
I'm undercover, man.
You on the job?
Undercover, son.
Yeah, I like the beard. I like the beard this time, you know?
Yeah, that's not too crazy.
Yeah, last time, I think...
They mess with me.
Yeah, last time I think we got a lot of hits just because of the beard. Not only the content, just because of the beard, you know?
Yeah, my boy calls me the king of beards. Yeah. This woman called me the king of beards. I had my beard done one day. She's like, "You're the king of beards."
Now,
I was in the airport in Atlanta. Yeah, you're the king of beards.
King of beards. Yeah, man. Let's start off with the show. I know. First off, you were 50's doing some sort of show on you, based on you.
Well, 50's doing a show basically not so much on me. Well, he is doing a show on me, but he's got this BMF thing rolling right now. He's involved with that right now. So
right,
he's doing another show that's supposed to be coming out. You know.
But tell me, how did they approach you, and what interested in them and you?
Well, it's the book. I wrote a book about my life, about the hip hop world and
Notorious
things I did,
COP, right?
and yeah, Notorious COP. And they like the book. They like the contents and what I said about it. So they're interested in it. But nothing's happened so far. We're waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, the COVID thing.
COVID slowed everything down. But he 50's doing a lot of things. He's doing a lot of projects right now. So he's pretty big. He's got a lot of shows on TV.
Right. How'd that come about? Like, who reached out to who? Like, how did that
They
happen?
reach out to your agent, or reach out to your publisher or whatever, and then they get in touch with you through, the writer. I think this time it was the director who I knew who was involved with it. But that's it. They reach out to you, and then, you see how things go, and if you sign a contract, you sign a deal, and you go from there.
How involved are you going to be, like, production-wise?
I hope to be involved. I hope to be involved a lot.
Okay,
as a consultant, at least. And an executive producer, hopefully.
You're executive producer?
No, I'm not. I hope to be involved in that stage. Hopefully, I can.
Right. How do you feel about T.I. playing you? I believe he's playing you, right?
T.I.'s a good guy. He knows his stuff. He's been around, so he played a cop on TV.
Right.
He played a cop in with Jamie Foxx. He was a detective with Jamie Foxx in the show. I forgot the name of the movie they did together, but it was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was decent.
He's got range.
He's got range. T.I.'s well known.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that will pan out. Can't wait for that.
Yeah. I hope it pans out too, man. I really do.
Yeah. There was another thing that you were in this Takashi documentary that's on Hulu.
Yeah, I was in the Takashi documentary on Hulu just recently, and basically I didn't handle the case directly. I know a lot about it from talking with people and going back and forth, but they wanted me to analyze the case as to what happened somewhat in the case and how it happened, because they want an expert opinion from someone who knows this industry and knows about how these cases go down. So I did the Hulu thing with Takashi 6ix9ine, but I'm sure there was a bunch of other things said about him as well, the trial, everything.
Right. Actually, that's the thing that you were holding back on Queen's Flip show. Remember the last part of the interview, they're like, "Oh, who are you talking about?"
Those Queen and Flip guys are good dudes. I liked them. I liked that show. That was a fun time with those guys.
Shout out to them.
They were good guys.
Yeah, and you were talking about you were talking about Takashi. Now, there was something you had found out about his stepfather, right? The one that got killed.
Yeah, but I don't think we could really say too much about it just yet. I think we're going to leave that as a mystery right now.
Okay.
Because I think for legal reasons, I think, we'll leave that alone for now. All I can say is, I found some information out that was, unearthed by myself. And, there's some other things that went on with Takashi 6ix9ine. But I don't want to talk about it right now. I'll wait until, it's the right time to say it or talk about it or discuss it. Believe me, I think there's been so much said about him right now. I think he should more concentrate on his career. He's out. Right. He got out of jail fairly quick from the crimes that he was charged with, and maybe he'll do a lot better.
Right. Now, I think it was I think it was $2 million, I believe that Casanova had offered up to get on, see if he could get on bail.
Well, the Casanova case is a little different because, like I said before, the federal government got involved in his case, and they got him involved in an organized gang. A group of people, I think they did a RICO on him.
Right.
And a few other people from Westchester or upstate New York that came down to the Southern District. Basically, Casanova was one of the big persons that were involved in that organization because of his fame and popularity.
Right.
But the case is still ongoing with the government. I mean, they're not done with it yet. They're still charging people and proffering people. And I'm sure they're going to get to the bottom of it when it comes down to it,
Right.
about what happened.
There was some paperwork that came out that I sent you. I wanted you to analyze because there's a lot of people that are confused about it. They
Okay,
don't know exactly what it is.
Let me explain this to you about this particular case. Because there's so many multiple defendants and you have so many multiple lawyers, there's discovery issues. Discovery is when the attorneys have a right to ask what documents the police department or the government has to turn over to them in a timely fashion.
Right.
So the discovery, they all want to have, anything that's available. The attorneys have to get that before trial. So they have to get, written statements, confessions, videotapes, anything that has to do with the case they're entitled to. So because there's so many attorneys that are involved, because I did read over what you sent me, and they have to be provided certain things in a certain time. So they're probably asking for a little more time so they can unearth more evidence for their clients to defend them.
Right. But there's the government responded to Casanova's bail request, and in that response, it seems like people are I'm not sure if they're misconstruing it, but in that paperwork, I could pull it up. People believe that there's that's all the evidence that the feds have, and it's not strong enough. Do you?
Well, I mean, I'm sure in this particular case, the feds wouldn't have charged him if they didn't have sufficient evidence against him. They wouldn't have charged it, but they did. So they had enough that they could go on. Now, if he's shooting for his bail reform to try to get bail to get out, in most cases with the government, I don't really see that happening.
Right.
There's not a lot of guys that get out on bail with the federal government like that. They either go in and do time, but that's a very rare time when you see a defendant in a case get bailed out, especially with a RICO investigation. It doesn't happen like that.
Right.
They get charged, they go to a magistrate, and if there's sufficient reason to, they let them go, they profit or something like that, it's different. But for a bail, I don't know. That's not something that's common. Let's put it that way.
Now, there's some things that they mentioned. The government, they have pictures of weapons. They have pictures that he took with some weed.
Well, I did see those. And the whole idea what the government is trying to prove is that, let's say you're a defendant in a case and you go, hey, I don't have guns. I don't travel with guns. I don't own a gun. And then they show pictures of you with guns, with weapons. How can you deny you don't have weapons if you ever had one? So what they're trying to do is they're trying to let everybody know the documents that they have are conclusive about, this guy, in this particular case, Casanova holding a weapon,
Right. Now, let's get a little technical. Let's say if they were just prop guns or the prop weed, is that still something that I could go to jail for?
No, they're not gonna put up prop stuff and introduce prop stuff to you. They don't do that.
No, but let's say Casanova, those pictures of guns. Let's say they were prop stuff. Who really knows?
Well, they're gonna. I'm sure they had somebody analyze them and look at them to see if they were authentic. And I think if they didn't, they would not release them or not put them out to the public if they weren't, because the government would backfire on them to do something like that. They wouldn't put out something that's illegal or improper.
Right.
Because they have to put out the real stuff. So when they get photographs like that, they did their due diligence to find out that it was real, and that's why they put it out.
Okay, I see. And I did see they mentioned wiretaps. I mean, obviously that isn't disclosed as of yet.
Not of yet. It will be down the line. They'll get the attorneys will get, if there's any wiretaps or any kind of conversations that were done secretly, they'll get that. That'll come out in discovery.
But like I said, the last paperwork, because that paperwork, people are insinuating, hey, this is all the evidence and it's weak. That's actually, is it that, or is it a response to his bail?
Well,
request?
It's a response probably to the bail request, but it's also a response to discovery that the attorneys want. Remember, they're going to release some materials at one point, and then at another point they're going to release more. But right now, I mean, it may appear weak for what people are seeing, but trust me, if the government indicted this case, it's not a weak case. They're not going to take a case that's weak and indicted. They have all their dots and the T's crossed because they went forward and they arrested all these people. Because somebody had to give the go-ahead to say, okay, start arresting all these people and bringing them in, you know? Mm-hmm. But believe you me, in this case, what's going to happen next is you have 18 defendants, I think, right? Mm-hmm. So out of these 18 defendants, they're going to be proffered. Most of them, or mostly all of them, going to be proffered. Maybe not Casanova. Maybe he won't talk right away. But there's going to be somebody in that crew that's going to talk, and they're going to make a deal with the government saying, hey, listen, this is what my involvement was. This is what I did. This is what he did. Right. And remember, there was a young girl killed, I think, up in...
oh, no, it was a young man.
It was a young guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a girl. I thought it was a young girl that got killed. She was underage. It was a juvenile that got killed in the course of the investigation. Right, I could be wrong, but I mean, it's been a little time. But I know a young person got killed, and that was part of the RICO as well, because they had violent acts, you know, with the guns, the drugs, and then the homicide, murder of someone. So,
yeah, because it's like, I'm pretty sure the government doesn't want to go through the thing of like the Murder Inc. thing, where Irv and his brother,
they beat it. They beat the case because,
and I'm pretty sure the feds were embarrassed by that.
Yeah, and usually they don't lose cases like that. So,
exactly.
But they lost that case, and that case, in my opinion, too, was kind of weak. You know, it was presented the way it was. I didn't think it was going to go. I didn't think it was going to go where they were going to be indicted. They were going to be convicted anyway. I thought it was good. I thought it was 50-50. And look, they got acquitted. They beat the case. So.
Right. And I believe they spent, I'm not sure if this is the right number, Park Range, but $10 million to defend themselves?
I don't know if they spent that much, but I know they spent a lot of money for attorney fees. Yeah, it could be in that range. You know, it was a lot of money involved. I mean, they had the best attorneys.
Right.
Remember, they had Jerry Shargell, I think it was, as one of the attorneys, if I'm correct. They had some really big attorneys on that case. Those guys are pretty good at what they do, you know?
Yeah. And as far as like, so do you think Casanova has a chance of, like, let's say if you wanted to fight this, take it to trial?
I mean,
or is he's probably just better off taking a plea, right?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know how strong his involvement is right now. Right now, it's too early to tell. But after they proffer all of these guys, or most of these guys, they'll have a much better case. Because remember, they have all these defendants coming in, and they're going to proffer them. I'm telling you, these guys are going to talk. And they're going to say whose involvement, what involvement. I know everybody in the street talks about no snitching. There's no snitching. You guys are a snitch. When guys get put in a certain situation, they talk. If they got the mob to talk, you don't think they can get these guys to talk? I mean, they had people in organized crimes. I'm talking about guys in money laundering that deal with millions of dollars. The feds go after big cases. They don't go after BS cases. They go after big people. Organizations, and they have great success in convictions. That's why they're the federal government, and in cases like this case here with Casanova, you have so many defendants. There's so many guys that are going to try to get out from under any way they can to get lesser plea deals, to get out of jail, because let's face it, nobody wants to be in jail now with COVID too and everything else. So it's a tough situation.
Yeah, it is. What about this? I know for a fact that it spells out, and it's in the paperwork, that they took a Casanova interview that he did with Nick Cannon, and Casanova says, "I'm still ape." It's quote as saying. Now, with that being said, are feds like looking through the internet, like VLADTVs, these like hip hop, outlets, radio stations who do interviews with these artists?
Listen, let's face it. Right now, everything pretty much in what we're doing today in today's time, social media. Social media is big right now. I mean, you see everybody in clubs, people doing, because it's to promote. It's sometimes to promote your brand, to promote what you do, to promote who you are. I see girls doing it all the time. How many girls you see take selfies, right? Yeah. Because they're promoting themselves, like my body. They're in the mirror with a hot outfit on. Right. So social media is big. So yeah, are the government and the state and local police looking? Of course. When they have cases like that, they look for certain things, and they look on it to track you, to find you, because people like to be on social media, and social media is big right now. So yeah,
Right.
if you want to say that the government or the feds and people monitor these things, yeah, they do.
Right. Well, I just want to set it clear. Obviously, Vlad isn't the police. He doesn't work with the police, but he is one of those outlets that brings those hard hitting questions, that asks about, you know, past things, like, you know what I mean, what you've done in the streets. He asks those kind of things. Are those things being watched, like their prior convictions or prior violence that they've done?
Well, I'm sure that Vlad has. Listen, Vlad is a media outlet. He's a media outlet, so he's looking for ratings. He's looking for people to come up and talk and dish the real stuff on his show. You know, so basically, when people come up, they talk. They talk about real stuff that people want to hear about the streets, what they did, who's gangster, who's not. You know, and sometimes these things get out. I don't think Vlad's working with the police, but.
Right.
You know, I mean, some of the things that he may ask may be interpreted that way, but I don't think it's that. I mean, he's just looking, like you said, he's looking to sensationalize his brand of TV.
Right.
To go out and get artists that nobody else has in their shows, and to put things out that the public and the people want to hear and they want to see, you know?
Right, but do you think he's, with that questioning, he's putting the person in a vulnerable position to kind of like, hey, you know, this person has done that when a case comes up, or they're tied up in law enforcement in any issues? You know what I mean? You see what I'm trying to say? Like, does that, in the long run, does that hurt?
I mean, it all depends. Like, it all depends, like, what he asks, I guess what people say that they could use against him. But that's not the main thing what they go after, you know? Social media is one thing, but everything comes from real life. Like, you know, people that are involved with you,
Right.
people that do things with you. Because that really makes the case. Social media, yeah, somewhat it plays a part if they can use it or they need it to further a case. But in most cases, you have cooperators and you have people that just did it. They have all kinds of other means of ways of getting information and evidence to build a case. Social media helps,
Right.
but that's about it, really.
Let me give you an example. Let me see. Let's say I get caught up in a situation similar to Taxstone, what happened with Taxstone.
Okay.
Right? And I'm trying to get bail. But I'm a personality, and I've talked that I talk, hey, if you're going to come up to me outside, trust me, I'm going to bring it. Like, you don't want no problems with me because I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll square up, I'll do this. Now, let's say I'm locked up and I'm trying to get bail, but the prosecution or the government, whoever, says, hey, don't let this guy on bail because this is the kind of individual he is. Look what he said on his platform, on his show, that he'll do this and he'll do that. He's very seems to be a violent person, and don't let him out. Is that a situation that can happen? The judge could look at that and say, yeah, you know what, you're right, I'm not going to give him bail.
That could be, yes, because
Okay.
the prosecutor could argue that look how this guy has no remorse. He's already incarcerated or locked up, and he's already telling you how he's going to do this if he gets out and that. So, I mean, it would be foolish for a guy to even say stuff like that, to put that out there. But yes, the prosecutor could go right to the judge and the magistrate and say, you know what, this guy's a risk to the community and to the streets. He's a danger, and we don't feel that he should be out right now. He should be remanded and not given bail.
I believe that's exactly what happened in Texas case, because I think I would have to confirm with his attorney, but I believe there was a situation where he was trying to get bail, but obviously on his own podcast he would say he doesn't like Ave, that if you run into him, you know, this is what's going to happen, blah blah blah.
Well, you're right, but you can't say things like that on video. You can't.
But it was done. It happens.
And I know it happens, but you know what? That could be used against you. I can see a prosecutor arguing that this guy's a danger. I don't want to let him out because he's going to get into get into something again. And depending upon what he's arrested for or locked up for, the judge may seriously consider saying, "No, I'm not letting this guy out because he is a danger."
So what that example I said was valid.
Sorry.
It's correct.
So again.
That example I said.
That example you said is valid.
Okay.
Has some validity to it. Yes.
Okay. I see. All right, there it is. That's all I wanted to ask. Anything that we should know? Anything you want to say?
Well, I just want to say this. I think from the month of December through January now, or let's say I say with December to January, there was a lot of cases that were media cases that were rap related, where rappers were either killed or involved in something where they were involved in money laundering or involved in some organizations. A lot of these guys, I mean, we're in a bad time right now with COVID, and I know money is tight for everybody, not just for me, for everybody. And, you know, it's best that people lay low and stop getting involved in certain things, you know, because, you know, this is the time now where the government can come after people. I've seen people go and profit off of the CARES Act, the relief money or the unemployment money, by setting up fictitious organizations and stuff. You know, people are crazy, but, you know, things are always going to happen. So it was a trying time for the month of December through January, because I think a lot of people believed that there was some kind of conspiracy against the rap music industry. And then somebody posted rappers, the endangered species.
Wow.
Which I laughed about it, but it wasn't to laugh at. It was kind of true in a way, because when you look at that statement that somebody posted on social media, it had a little bit of validity to it, because these rappers were always getting into trouble or always going out there doing certain things. And I always say, listen, nobody's touring, nobody's making money, nobody's doing concerts, clubs. It's tough, it's difficult. But the best thing to do right now is just as a time for them to make their music, make good music, so that when the time comes, you can put the music out and get back on top again and be one of those popular artists, because things will open back up. They will eventually. Right now, we're all going through a tough time in this country, and hopefully it gets better.
Right. And just to be clear, Vlad isn't the feds.
From what I know, Vlad's not the feds.
Okay. All right, there it is.
Hey, again, guys, go to It's AGTV on YouTube. That's the homie. And he's got a great YouTube channel.